Yeah, north of Chicago, Illinois. You know what? Not so long ago, you see exactly what I documented from the very beginning on YouTube here. Okay, chronological. How you doing this morning? Deerfield, Highland Park, Glencoe, Winnetka, Kenilworth, Wilmette, Lake Forest, Lake Bluff? How you doing? I have to invest this time as wisely as possible. You see my history, every single bit of it. I'm fully disclosing who I am for over 30 years. And you know I happened to come down here in Alabama in 2002. And let me ask you something up there. The professional management of this country, okay? I understand laws and federal is absolute. Absolute. You're working very hard, I'm sure, to almost share 50% with entrusted professional management in this country, which correctly invested, we would be creating success and they would be richly rewarded. So that's what we're paying for, professional management of this country. See, I came out here to Alabama now. You know everything. Now you know all about my history. And you know that I've contacted the College Lake County as recently as 2012 just to validate the experience that I have. Education irrelated. That is good, solid business experience that puts me ahead of most people. Everything I've documented about Lake Forest, up and down the Chicagoland North Shore, fully experienced, put me exactly in that same setting today. Boom. I've already experienced for close to a decade. Well, you know I came out here in 2004, and here I am right now today, and I believe that I am investing this time right now this morning of October 11th very wisely. Now you don't know yet anything between 2008 to 2012, but I am sure this is going to be most interesting to everyone up there. I didn't know anything. I'm used to only the highest level of honesty and integrity. That's all I know. Look at all the videos. I've disclosed everything about my background. And I have to say, in 2008, I was in a very good position still. And you can see all this complete irrelevant substance that has nothing to do in any manner. PhD in vocational psychology, professional career counseling. I'm seeking that from the highest level of expertise, professionally. That's it. That's it. 4 million population base, piece of cake. See, but I got my helping hand from the United Way in Alabama here. I've never experienced that in over 40 years, 30 years up north. Be right to the College Lake County, and I've already documented, I'll repeat it again and again, unresolved issue, unresolved. And look at what started in 2004. That is what you are paying for professional management of this country. And there are entrusted servants which it will work down for their services to be provided for in the future. That's why we pay almost 50% for all those services. And I wouldn't even have to question anything. Deerfield, Highland Park, Lake, any of it, Lake County, ever. I never experienced anything but the highest level of honesty, integrity, the healthiest context. Exactly what it was in 2004 and 2008. When you look at the depths building on that curiosity, I fully disclosed. I learned how things work. College Lake County in 2012, and I'm skipping all over the place, but just you know what I'm talking about, because you're going to see every bit of it. 2012, with experience that's consistent. Exactly, I got the answer immediately. All the services were available. Would I have continued on with a very successful career? You bet I would have. You bet I would have, right at 2004. Now I'm showing to you complete. I'm telling you, 2004, you see it firsthand. Entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur, you're seeking the highest level of expertise from the highest level of professionalism, professional career counseling, PhD. You know what happened? You look at that vocational evaluation. It's 100% negligence, but it's much more than just 100% negligence. It is beginning to become only medical, when absolutely none of it is medical. Not one bit of it. Look at that. It's validated. Fine. What does... Now, you're talking about, when you talk about Bill Pryor, he's a lifetime judge appointed by Bush, and Stephen K. Simpson, and Jim Harris III, that gives you an idea of how high up this is. You can't be any higher. Would you believe I'm saying President Bush of the whole nation slipped him in? That would need to be delegated out. I do not understand anything about laws and acts over the decades or any of that. All I know is the end result is absolutely none of this is medical in any manner, and yet that vocational evaluation makes me appear like an invalid. I am positive at this point where I'm doing this update. It shows me physiologically brain damage, fully, thoroughly documented by neuropsychologists. I present that at the highest level. That vocational evaluation is all medical. None of it. I didn't know it. I do now. I certainly do. The likelihood of proving that those medical records are falsified by Alan J. Markowitz, that's why he said to me with Michael Quinn, I'm on medication, you should be on it. I've got such a case built up against you, you'll never receive services. Good luck in getting those medical records. They have been tampered with. To compile a vocational evaluation, compare the two differences, which were true for over 30 years. I can prove that. I can absolutely prove everything, and it would have been if I went back up to Lake County, Illinois, or Deerfield, or Highland Park, any of that. That is what's going to be true for 42 years of my life. Well, minus 7, I mean 35 years. I can absolutely prove what is 100% true about me in just a couple of years. Believe me, 42 years of only experiencing the very highest level of honesty, integrity, and the healthiest contact. What I am describing to you out here in Alabama, it just takes a couple of years. Every bit of it, I'm going to hold off on that because I've learned this in present-day form. I had to go through the experience, learn it, and experience it, and then go to the very highest level. And what do? It comes back to Bill Pryor, Stephen K. Simpson. I don't think there's absolute immunity. No way. No possible way. And from that point forward, Jim Carden, Jim Harris III, right up there. He has Bill Pryor right there in Atlanta, appointed by Bush. A lifetime appointment, completely opposed to the Senate. Maybe he wasn't opposed by the Senate. There was maybe another way to pull a maneuver to slip it in a recess session, but there was tremendous opposition. That is a direct violation of my civil rights. You have it all right here. What they have done here. Hey Deerfield, hey Highland Park, how you doing? You're operating, but believing something like this could never happen, right? I wouldn't believe it either. You look at that vocational evaluation back in 2004, and here I am right now just getting done with 2008, and I will absolutely prove psychological malpractice, the most serious. I am not involved in any manner in anything that is occurring, whatever is going on with the highest level of expertise. For people with disabilities to achieve their maximum potential. Hey, you think by chance I can get a PhD in vocational psychology related to professional career counseling? No, entrepreneur is all it took. All the way up. Hindsight and foresight. Here I am in 2012, but I'm bundling together a couple of thousand experiences, putting them out in sentence, paragraphs. There you go. I don't know anything. I'm still operating on that 35 years, which will always be the truth about me until, and it just takes a couple of years. You have to be. I just learned. I just learned that recently. Let me tell you something. I'll leave it up to you. This is called psychological malpractice at the very highest level. There was nothing that I did that warranted a human studies professor, which Jim Harris III and Stephen K. Simpson got from the Alabama State Education System, a human studies professor. It was operating that way in 2004. You heard what happened when I related to Graham Sisson. Right on that date in 2004, I'm equivalent to someone who can use psychology and subliminal too. I don't like to, but just my communication skill. Oh, there's no way anyone's going to get around that. I didn't understand that until about 2008 when I came across Bill Pryor, wondering why I was just simply trying to seek a PhD in vocational psychology. I needed it. I needed it. Hey, Deerfield, Highland Park, Lake County, the highest level of expertise. I'm seeking the absolute College Lake County. Just a couple of months ago here in 2012, compare that to the education system in Alabama here. But see, these are trusted servants that I'm dealing with, that I will absolutely be able to prove by the time I'm said and done, for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, psychological malpractice here. With you cleared from Lake County, business professional, that puts you way ahead of most people, that experience. I have ran it by so many people to make sure that perception is accurate. It's fully validated by the College Lake County. Most unique, most gifted, most fortunate, create success in a perfectly healthy economy. Put me right back up in that setting today. And exactly what I've stated is the incorporated norm that I come from. Now let me share with you. I am considered on the high side of intelligence. I'm someone who builds on curiosity, learn how things work. I'll come back and share it with you. Very, very fortunate. I'm also someone that knows, not the hard-skilled product or service, and I gained a couple of thousand. I want to be thoroughly, this is nothing I would want to fool around with, and any sort of exaggeration. You're looking at someone that's looking at the highest level of, I'm used to a CEO being my supervisor. All of that, it's all there. I'm used to a CEO with the highest level of expectation. And by the time it's said and done, I've over and over a couple of thousand times the highest level of expertise as far as EQ. I didn't know what it was yet. It's what I'm seeking. The Lake Forest Graduate School of Management environment, where I was able to get myself in a position where I absolutely exceeded their expectation. I'm thoroughly honest when I state, they told me out of all the people they called out their home, I'm the one person out of all of them. They invested in me. They gave that to me to create success in a perfectly healthy economy. Now I'm in Alabama. All success. It's written in federal law. I do not understand the laws because I just made a general inquiry. Hey, U.S. Department of Education, Labor and Justice, I got my helping hand from the United Way. Hey, Lake County, United Way. Birmingham, I didn't know any idea what I was about to experience and learn. Let me guarantee you, I'm proving psychological malpractice. I'm investing the time I have today, right now, October 11th, this morning, as wisely as I possibly can. Do you agree? It's really not what I think. It's a relationship, sharing things in common in the healthiest context. And that's exactly what was supposed to happen. Let me tell you, I promise you, I never did, ever, have committed a disorder. It's created. And everything I'm going to share with you, you never would believe, but you're hearing it and seeing it firsthand. This is completely irrelevant substance. I'm looking at the highest level of expertise, professionally managed, and I'm making the most general inquiry about law. Have my physiological medical records been falsified? Absolutely. To concoct a vocational evaluation like that, but see, I didn't know that was a medical document. Look at the acts and bills and what Bill Pryor did right then, in 2004, to the date I walked in. They have implanted whatever they have concocted, but I'm going for the very highest level. Literally, I'm at Bill Pryor. I'm right there. What President Bush did. Right up there with Bill Pryor, with Jim Harris III and Stephen K. Simpson. None of that should have happened. You see me ruminating. Unresolved issue. I needed the highest level of expertise related to professional career counseling. That's where it left off on the Chicagoland North Shore. About 100 PhDs in vocational psychology. I've disclosed that in earlier reviews. Believe me, what I am documenting here is of the most highest level substance. Believe me, I've gone to that. And that's what happened in 2008. I started contacting Jim Harris III. I was not seeking education, clearly, never. All of this has happened just because I mentioned entrepreneur. Up to this date, a human studies professor at the highest level of expertise, at the highest level of the healthiest context. Let me guarantee you at this point that I am having medical records where it's that, like that. All of that to try to get some professional career counseling. All that. Okay? Those medical records are in absolutely no resemblance to the original form. Positive. Jim Harris III, with a human studies professor, and let me tell you about her credentials. That is what I am not supposed to understand, but I'll bet you it will hold up in law. Absolutely. I am definitely that way. You know, this, what we're straying upon, is so irrelative to any substance. It would just take a couple of years. You're going to see it. You're going to see it firsthand. I'm going to go into 2009, 2010, and 2011 up to present day, and then I'm really going to make sure where I am in present day relative to after learning and gaining that experience at the highest level of expertise. I kid you not. I'm sure this is considered a very serious felony. I am sure there is not immunity in this case. What already has happened. Every bit of this is medical, but actually none of it is. It would be mind-boggling to believe a boundary violation is that serious. I had no idea in 2008, nor 2010. But what I've heard of what I've disclosed in these earlier videos as I'm learning this, I guarantee you I'm going to be able to prove psychological malpractice. I'm absolutely positive. There is no way that those over 35 years could be wiped out in just a couple of years. That is an incorporated norm in Birmingham, and that is how powerful the medical is. Believe me, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. This is nothing I should be investing any time in relative to what I'm sharing with you, which I promise you is top professional management. U.S. Department of Labor, Education, Justice at the highest level. That's exactly what I'm looking at. They're civil servants. Instead, they're falsifying medical records. That vocational evaluation reflects whatever they've concocted here medically. It shows me as an invalid who 35 years, in contrast that, and I think we're now in about 2 or 3 years, I would have been happy to pay for a community college. I would have been happy. I was never seeking education. Oh, yes, I was. The expertise of the highest level of professionalism by chance. That is simply taking that 35 years of experience, and seeking the highest level of expertise. I was able to get that very easily from the College Lake County a couple of months back to validate. Absolutely, my perception is accurate. I've been at it. 2004, 5, 6, 7. I do not know the exact date ranges until I look at those files. Now, look, you're seeing it firsthand. You wouldn't believe this, would you? A complete transformation just like that. You wouldn't believe that, would you? And yet, you have all of my history, and you're going to have the future, because I'm about to fully disclose all the rest of these years. If I would have immediately, in 2004, relocated up to Lake County in Illinois, it'd be immediate. I stayed down here. I had a little bit of a cushion, but I needed. That's why I continued to stay in touch with Jim Harris III and Stephen K. I don't think that attorney has that much immunity, not outright to falsify medical records. This is falsification of medical records. You'll never get them, because of Jim Harris III and that human studies professor. I'll guarantee you there's no resemblance. They can do anything. They slip them around. God only knows what's really in them. I just know all I was seeking from the highest level of expertise was absolutely the most reasonable request. Look at where it is right now. I'm speaking to Jim Harris III as automatic, the most serious form of mental illness, just by mentioning entrepreneur. That's what Alan Markowitz did. He's a criminal. No wonder I felt like his house should be burned down to the ground. Of course, I wouldn't do that, but I'm disclosing it. I was put in a setting equivalent to I had a stroke, like a flashcard, like somebody who was physiological brain damage, fully documented by neuropsychologists. I wouldn't believe I'm saying what I'm saying on this morning update. This is how I should be spending my morning update right now. Or is it? Let's go a step further. From that point forward, in 2008, I clearly disclosed 3 to 4 times a year from the highest level of expertise, U.S. Department of Labor, Education, Justice, boom, at the highest level. I'm needing to take, it was nothing. It's all there. It's all there. I didn't know about this incorporated norm down here, and I go fully disclose to you, compared to, hey, Deerfield, Highland Park, up and down the Skull and North Shore, Lake County. I know that incorporated norm real well for 35 years. And what I'm going to share here will absolutely prove psychological malpractice. I stated President Bush, Bill Pryor, Graham Sisson, Jim Harris III, and that attorney, Stephen K. Simpson. Believe me, the maneuvers are absolutely endless. There's not a speck of truth to that vocational evaluation or any of it. But you got a human studies professor from the top, highest level of expertise It was that way in 2004, and it's operating that way today. I am about to be in touch with Jim Harris III 3-4 times a year in the future years, and he is the one that's committing psychological malpractice. That is so serious. I'll leave it up to you. You wouldn't believe something like this could go on, would you? See, it's all medical, as I'm now learning today, but it's not medical in any manner. And I'm proving the most serious, and I mean serious, boundary violations. Yes. It all becomes medical when absolutely none of it is medical in any manner, but that's all it is. With a human studies professor, President Bush, Bill Pryor, research it. I don't fully understand all this, but I'm taking a guess my civil rights are very much being violated. No match. It can be a complete transformation in a couple of years, and I'm going to absolutely prove it. I'm going to prove the basis of exactly why I'm going to do in a couple of days here. Am I investing my time wisely exactly towards the intended purpose, or is it completely unrelated substance that has nothing to do with achieving your maximum potential? I guarantee you this will be at the highest level. Guaranteed. Very fortunate. I know it's true about myself. But out here, you just saw it down a couple of videos ago. Look how clear I was. I believe that's 7/2012. Every bit of it's medical. No truth, but none of it is. So do you feel that you're getting the professional management in this country exactly in the relative to what the College Lake County told me? I'm in Birmingham. I will prove this is a completely different incorporated norm. I'm going to prove psychological malpractice. This is as high profile as it can possibly get. As I mentioned, what I learned over the last couple of days, I'm someone who had just happened to come from out of state. And I fully disclosed that in a video or two down there, what I've learned just recently. Let me continue on here. Thank you. Thank you for learning about me. I'm happy to share this with you. I want you to get to know me, and most important, a completely different incorporated norm that is quite a bit different than I've ever experienced in over 30 years. Thank you very much for getting to know me, and I'm happy to share this with you. I'm very effective at teaching. I know I am. Thank you.